T-intersections, again, they're double corners, so what I'm going to do with you guys is I'm going to take a shortcut and go right to the doors, okay? We all understand that a T-intersection is basically, this is a T-intersection right here, coming from the restrooms out into this room area. It's a door that happens to be wider than usual, that's all. All right, you're approaching the door. Again, you're traversing through this area. You identify the next target that you want to hit. If the door is open, fantastic, okay? Now it's just a T-intersection with a narrow portal, that's all. If the door is closed, you need to negotiate the door, okay? Now, the geography right here, it limits how much pre-entry inspection of the room I can do, okay? It is what it is. You know, adapt as best you can, okay? When you approach the door, identify where the door, how it operates. Does it open in? Does it open out? How can you tell?
Hinges.
Yeah, if you see hinges, it opens toward you. If you don't see hinges, it opens that way. Okay, can you tell whether it's on a, you know, some sort of, you know, mechanism, hydraulic or anything like that? Can you tell from the outside?
Sometimes you can see bolts,
you know,
or screws. Or...
If you've already done 3 doors in that same structure and they all have hydraulics, call me crazy, but you're probably safe to assume that it's got hydraulics too. Okay? So, now you can't really tell from the outside. Okay? All right. So, you know, all I know about this door is that it opens in. Okay? Again, you know, here at the shop we have, you know, the clear glass. If you have that, you can get a lot of intel on what's in the room from out here without ever touching the door. Okay? But, you know, for training purposes, we're going to assume that this is closed off. You can't really see through it. Okay? Now, you need to identify what side the doorknob is on. Okay? It is better for you if you approach the door from the side the doorknob is on. Why? Because if there's a bad guy in there and the door starts to move, he's going to be tempted to shoot right through the door. Okay? And here you are operating the door. You're kind of in the target zone, aren't you? Okay? So it would be better for you if the architecture allows to approach the door from the other side. Now in this case here we have furniture and stuff like that which limits accessibility. But you know what? It might not be a bad idea to position myself over here anyway. Okay? And push through. I think that standing in front of the door is that risky where you would want to, even if you have to, you know, monkey position yourself on top of a couch or a chair or something to get on the same side of the doorknob, I would do it. Okay? Sometimes, you know, if there was a wall right here, okay, you know, I would say it's better to reach across the door to check the doorknob than to stand out here in the middle and work the doorknob. Okay? All right, so in any case, I've got the pistol, you know, ready to go. Again, I like searching from the center position here. I identify the door. Okay, looks like it opens in. Doorknob is over there. All right, you know, I can work it from here, but you know, I have the option of getting on the other side, so why wouldn't I do that? All right, so very carefully I move to the other side. If I have ambidextrous capability, you know, it wouldn't be a bad idea now to just transition the pistol. Okay? You know, it's a little cumbersome to be working it like this. What happens is guys that don't have an ambidextrous skill set developed, they have to do this kind of stuff. Okay? Which exposes them now to threats inside the room. All right? We're starting to see that being ambidextrous is really an asset. Okay? All right, so pistol goes in my left hand. I keep this up here, and I reach for the doorknob. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a soft check of the doorknob. I'm just going to really careful, just touch it, and feel whether it's locked or not. Okay, now I'm not making a sound here other than my voice. Notice I took a long time to operate that. Why am I doing this? Because it doesn't do you any good to grab this and do this kind of stuff. All right? You know, even a drunken monkey in there is going to figure out, hey, there's somebody at the door. Good heavens. Okay? Other mistakes I see people do when they're doing the doorknob. The low ready guys. Okay, here I am at low ready because this is the ready and there are many like it, but this one is mine. Right? They get in here and they start doing this. Okay? All right, now you notice what I'm doing here. Okay? If this door opens up, okay, now I have to shoot quickly, I'm creating a problem for myself. Okay? I don't care if all the ninja guys in the world do it this way, it's still wrong. Okay? Bring the pistol back, nice and tight in here, where if I have to shoot, I can shoot without my arm masking my own gun muzzle. Okay? All right, so I reach up, and I'm springing the feet and ready to go here. Okay? Okay, I have, for all intents and purposes, opened the door. If I move this and it's locked, what do? I bypass this door. Always keep it in the back of my mind, but I bypass it, I go on to something else. Okay? Okay, now here what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the door open. I'm going to let go of the door for a second. I'm going to throw the door open, okay, and if I have the availability, I'm going to move back in this direction. What I'm going to do, because again, we've got, furniture and cameras and stuff over here, I'm going to act as if this area was closed off to me. So as soon as the door starts moving open, I'm going to move back over here like this and get distant from the door. Okay, now you notice what I did automatically.
Switch.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I just did it. Okay, so I do the soft check. It's unlocked. Beauty. Okay, I push the door open. Okay, and I move back, and I'm getting a good visual about what's in that room, and I'm ready to shoot it every second. And if that happens, it kind of sucks. But you know what? That'll happen. Okay? If you throw the door open too hard, it will always bounce back. I try to do it softly. I know we've got those rubber bumpers on there, because probably the people that were operating here before, had issues. Okay, but what did I do? The door opened, it came back. Now I saw a good amount of this room there. Okay, I know that we have a table in there, it's illuminated, and so on and so forth. The door also didn't close back up. Okay, so now I can approach this door. Okay, now again, if it was transparent here, I could clear the room from the outside. Again, we're assuming this door is a full door. I can reach up here, okay, and push it open. Now you notice, as the door is moving, what am I doing? I'm following it. As the door opens up, it creates what? The apex of a corner. Okay? So I follow it as much as I feel is safe, and then I pull back. Okay? And I check. High, low, drop down. What have I got there? Okay. So far, so good. All right? And I try and get as much visual into this room as possible. Again, all the way from here, okay? I see I've got furniture in there, a TV. Okay, very good. Chairs, a table, okay, right? And I want to get as much info into that room as I can. All right, if I haven't been able to see what's on the other side of that door, I may go in here. I can look along the wall, there's nobody there. Okay, good. I try and minimize my time in this area. Okay? All right, now, I know that this wall here is long. Why? Because I saw through the crack in the door, and when I was over there I could see in that direction. So basically what I have is I've got that room with the door here. Okay, so where would be the best place for me to enter this room? I don't want to run that wall because I got all kinds of threats on this side here. Okay, so I want to have all my threats in front of me. Okay, the best way to ensure that is to penetrate along this line. Now, as I stand here, we'll get the camera footage and stuff for all that later. As I stand here, this portal's very small. I can't get through there. But if I step off over here, oh yeah, I got plenty of room. Okay? All right, and so basically what I'm going to do where that black chair is, that's the direction of travel that I'm going to take. Okay? And so I get here, I load up. Okay? And I penetrate into that room. Now you see how I made that quick visual check? No problem. Once I'm inside, how do I triage the room? What's the first thing I look at?
Hard corner.
On the door.
Hard corner, next.
Behind the door.
Behind the door, next.
Furniture.
Behind furniture, next. Under stuff and inside stuff. Yeah, it's easy. And you just go through that process, okay? And you're done. No big deal. Okay? I'm moving into this area here, and I'm looking here. I'm taking this deep corner behind the furniture, and then I've got now this whole room in front of me to deal with. So, again, it goes with keeping your threats in front of you, not having some threats in front, some threats behind. Approach the door, and I don't care. I'll step over people's stuff, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'll take the position I need to take. Okay, approach the door. Okay, again, I pull back over here. I don't want to get into this business. We see what the problem is there. Okay, so I bring this back in here. Okay, remember we were talking about the retention as a concept? Yeah, I mean, okay, does it have, now I'm pointing at my own, why would I do that? That's stupid. Just bring the gun back and get it out of the way. Okay, what do we call this position? The bring the gun back and get it out of the way position. You know, okay, I do the soft check of the door. Notice I'm being very quiet here because I don't want to give the bad guy information that I'm coming, okay? Great, it's open, bam, I throw the door open and I move back and I'm checking, what have I got, okay? If the door is on a hinge, okay, it's going to be risky to keep it open, okay? If I'm coming in this way and I need to keep the door open, I'm going to have to linger in this area here, okay? You know, as I clear the door and then clear and move into the room. There is no other way to do it when you're by yourself, okay? If the door is hinged and it's opening into the room, as it opens up and I see it come back, I'm going to have to eat this area really quick, okay? And I'm using my body to keep it open. Now, I am much more exposed here than I would be if I was back deeper into the room. But again, if that's the characteristic of the door, it's the way it goes. Not a lot that can be done. Okay, if you have prior intel on, you know, the kind of architecture you're working with, like your house, for example, you can pre-plan a lot of this stuff. Okay, but if you don't, you just have to be able to adapt to the circumstance. Okay, all right. So the door is open. Let's say that it's not a spring-loaded door. Okay, great. So again, if I had the whole room available, I would move around the table there, clear from the outside and all that. But again, I keep the pistol tight up in here, and what have I got here? Okay, I've got a corner here. Well, that's as much as I can do with that corner. I'm going to shift to this other corner. Okay, so now I'm working in this corner here. Okay, and I'm looking at everything beyond that corner. What's over there? Furniture. Big room, big room. Okay, great. Fantastic. All right, and I decide, you know what? It's going to be better for me to enter in that way. Now, you notice what I made? I made a decision right now. I'm going to enter that room that way. I put the pistol in my left hand because intuitively from my training I realized I need to take this left-handed corner rather than the right-handed corner. Right-handed corner is a wall that goes lengthwise here. This is the deep part of the room. This is where I need to go to automatically. It's left-handed, goes in the left hand, and I move. Okay, then as I penetrate the room here, okay, I dive in, I check to the left, and I continue into the room. Okay? Cool? Again, you know, we know what we do with the room, right? You know, we identify the door, we deal with the door, all that kind of stuff, we still do it. Okay, what we're going to do is position the guys. Okay, it could be 1, 2, let's throw a third guy in there just for grins, okay? They could end up like this. Okay, that's a possibility. All right, they could also end up, okay, like this, where 1 is on one side and then 2 and 3 are on the other. We're going to talk about both of them. Okay, we're going to talk about both of them. I prefer, if possible, get them on either side of the door. Okay? Sometimes it is. If it is, take advantage of it. If it's not, you have to do it this way. Okay? All right. Again, these guys have seen everything probably like that. Okay? What's the more dangerous part of the room now?
The left-hand side.
Okay, the left-hand side. All right? But we can't ignore this. So all of this area here is unknown. Okay? How can we get these guys in there? Try to get as many guns in the room as possible. Okay? It's going to be substantially harder to get 2 guys into the room from a stack than from either side of the door. That's just the way it is. Okay? However, the best way to do this is, again, number 1 and 2, step away from the wall to make that opening appear to be bigger. Okay? Number 1 shoots across like this. The first thing that he does is he deals with this hard corner. Number 2 comes in, hits here, and moves in this direction. Okay? Now, this is going to be hard because it's not going to be simultaneous. Number one is gonna lead number two by a brief span of time, okay? It's dangerous for number one because bad guy over here, if he's there, has an opening into number one's back, okay? And then number three fills in wherever he needs to go.
Is there a reason that one doesn't deal with the more dangerous area first?
This is dangerous.
Right.
This half of the room is a little bit, more unknown. Doesn't necessarily make it more dangerous, just makes it more unknown.
Okay.
Now, can they do it the other way? Can number one, hit here and go that way, number two go like that?
Mhm.
Yeah, sure, okay. The problem, again, the problem is that number one, when he hits here and starts moving in there, this is a very loud, tumultuous entry. Any bad guy here in this corner is gonna have a shot at his back. So you can do either or, okay? So in essence, what you're doing is you're doing a cross button hook, but it's the Suarez type button hook, okay? You know what, we're gonna come up with a new term here. We're gonna call this the entry takeoff.
The ETO.
We're gonna call it the entry takeoff.
The door jam takeoff, yeah.
The other
Or you know what, even
Door
better.
jam Pikiti.
Yeah, the door jam takeoff. Okay, so it's, here we go. Okay, the DJT. There's an article coming.
The other issue you run into with that also, number one comes in and button hooks back. The guy in that corner, your number two guy, you're already alerted that guy. Your number two guy comes around that corner
Yeah.
right into a
Yeah.
face full of gun.
Yeah.
If we're, displacing to keep from getting shot by any asshole waiting there, do we reposition ourselves close to the wall once we've taken care of it, just so we can maximize our?
No, what I want to do is, okay, see, their entry into the room diagonally like this
Yes,
is an additional level of protection
okay,
in case, because you can't get two guys in at the same time this way.
yes.
All right, and number two, the minute the first guy goes in, because you're gonna be hearing, a lot of this kind of stuff banging. I mean, you guys try to do a fast entry, silently, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Okay? So the guys are gonna be alerted. Now, the diagonal movement off of running the wall is gonna give you an additional level of protection. Again, you look at most units or most team tactics that are being done, and what they're doing is they're doing this. They go in, they run the wall.
Yeah,
They
they
go
flood the
in
walls.
and they run the wall. Well, you're running right into the dude's gun.
The flooding, yeah.
So why would you do that? Instead, work a diagonal process. You don't have to physically be in the spot as long as you can reach into the spot with your ammunition.
Since we're talking about walls too, is looking at structures, cement walls, cinder block walls, a round hits that and it travels down the length of the wall, 8
Yep.
to 10 inches
That's
off
right.
the wall.
That's right.
Really?
So that's why you don't want to be hugging the wall if you
Right.
can avoid it.
Gabe, if you do have the luxury of having 3 people, would you optionally position 1 or 2 on one side and number 2 and 3 on the other side?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Especially if you have.
If it's possible, do it. Now, here's an example when it's not possible. Okay? The entry is configured like this.
Oh, shit.
Can't do much there.
No. So again, remember, that's why we have a variety in tactics so that you can adapt to whatever your problem is going to be. Yes.
If you're coming in, we used to do where you hit hard corners and then circle back to the middle of the room with our guns. Is that still kind of what we're
Yeah,
doing?
because you're coming in diagonal. Okay, by the time you get to about here, you're going to have dealt with the problem.
Right.
Okay, trading shots, whatever. So there you are. You're deep in the room. Okay, so here's what we do. Here's the room. You divide the room in half. Right?
Right.
Okay, so this guy has dealt with this, and he goes, he checks this, he checks this, he checks this. He gets up to this point here. The more closer he starts getting to the center of the room, the more he starts moving into stool position. Makes eye contact with his buddy. Clear right, clear left. Okay, and you're back down in the center there. Now remember, behind doors, behind furniture, underneath and inside things. Okay, so everybody does that. Okay, number 3, I would say number 3 basically gets in the room and holds at the door. That way you have eyes on the area you came from continually. As soon as they're done in there, what does number 3 become?
Point man.
He becomes the number 1 because he's had eyes on the next target the longest. Okay, and the whole process is continued throughout the
read looking that way?
Yeah, basically, let me redo this here, okay? We should probably come up with a video game to do this, you know. Okay, so let's say you have 1, 2, and it could be like this, 1, 2, and 3, okay? Well, actually, you know what, it would be 1, 2, and 3, all right? So you have this guy and this guy go in, okay? You have 1 and 2, let's erase them now, okay? They're in there doing their thing. Now, number 3, does he want to hang out in the hallway? No. So what he does is he moves into here and he hangs out in the door, gun covering the next area they want to move to. And he basically hangs out there, right? And he stays until they say, hey, we need you in here. Or, you know, they come up behind him and give him a nice little tap, let him know, hey, let's move. Let's go to the next spot. And then he becomes number 1, number 2 and 3 fill in.
He would have no in-room responsibilities unless there's something.
Unless he's called for, unless somebody says, hey, we need you in here, there's another room, an additional room. You know, sometimes you have a room that leads to another room. Okay, the danger with doing that is, you know, we used to call it getting sucked into the problem, you know, like the vortex of the house, you know. And so you'd have, you know, your team, they go into this room in the hallway, okay, great. And then there's another door over here that leads to another room, okay, and then another door over here that leads out into a hallway, okay, and you know, and then you end up coming back out the way you came, all right, you know, and it's easy to get kind of caught up in the whole maze. Again, if you have 3 guys, if you have 2 guys, 3 guys, you know, the team leader can make a decision, yes, we're gonna follow this room, or no, we're gonna come back to this later, secure the door and you leave, you know. As you move, someone's always covering your 6 because you did leave some stuff unchecked. Especially true if you're pressed for time, if you're trying to, you know, get through an area or whatever the case is. You don't have time to really follow this flow and see where it goes. You know, if you're working with multiple teams, this is where guys wind up shooting their own people. Okay, because you can imagine this. Check this out. Okay, you know, you have 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and they're pointing out like this. Okay, and you know, you have your 1, 2, and 3 that clear your other 1, 2, and 3 that cleared this room, and okay, you have 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, and now they're moving this way. And you know what? It's hard to keep track of where you're facing in the house. You know, are we coming back the way we came? What the heck is going on? You know, and maybe there was some gunfire up here or whatever. What's the mental condition of these guys right now? What the heck is going on? You know, and man, they're jacked up like this. You guys know how you feel when you're doing force on force. Okay, multiply that times 10. All right, and now what happens is you pick up movement of somebody pieing this corner. It's like, oh, you know what? That's not so good. That's why it's important that you keep your team together and you keep the communication going, because if you get removed from them and eye contact is lost and everything else, you could come back on them and now you have good guy and good guy. Yeah.
We did some multi-team.
Okay, guys, we're going to talk about team tactics here. Okay. Now, in this context, we're talking about you know, 2 or 3 person team. Can you work the CQB program with a 5, 6, 7, even 10-man team? Sure. Okay, but that is beyond the scope of this study right now. There are some courses that we will be doing probably under the HRO program. You know, when we talked about that this class really should be, you know, beyond that, and I agree. I think the HRO portion of this is going to deal with the team structure, but inside the building. A little bit different dynamic, okay? But, you know, we're talking husband-wife, we're talking, you know, father-son, we're talking, you know, business partners, law enforcement context, we're talking about 2 patrolmen, whatever. There's always 2 people around, okay? Sometimes 3. Anything more than that, you know, you start getting into now the fire team type of situation or SWAT element type situation, which again, it calls for a different type of training and maneuvering. Okay, team tactics, they are a true force multiplier. We were talking about you know, the illusion of a force multiplier by the use of flashlights and so on and so forth. You give the bad guy the illusion that there are more than one of you. Well, when there are more than one of you, it's a true force multiplier, all right? And the reason that you can reduce the threats. Remember the complex problem we did yesterday? You stood there and you went, oh my God, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 areas of responsibility, potential danger areas and so on. Well, when you have additional people involved, what do? You reduce the number of threats dramatically. If I'm working with Roger and I got 8 problem areas, Roger, if you take the 4 on the right, I take the 4 on the left. Hey, everybody's happy. We bring Doug into that. Okay, you got 3, he's got 3, and I'll deal with these 2 over here. Okay, I get less because I'm a cool guy. No, I'm kidding. All right, and so it's much safer for everyone. You can afford to turn your back on things because your buddy is covering your 6. Okay, and again, the division of responsibility. Instead of one massive complex problem, you divide it up into smaller problems. It's the same thing that you do when you're operating alone, except that you can only handle one problem at a time. Right? But now, when you have other people, you're still doing the same thing, but you're assigning guys to cover other issues. Okay? Now, there are some concerns with team tactics that we need to address. When you're operating by yourself, okay, how many thought processes do you have? 1. Okay, you are one mind because you are one mind. If you're working with another person, do you share the same thoughts? No, you don't. So there needs to be some sort of communication going on between you, okay? Difficult to do inside of a structure while remaining stealthy, okay? And without, compromising your position, everything else. One of the most basic levels of communication is basically you're in contact with your teammate. Basically moving shoulder to shoulder, back to back, whatever. Through whatever the problem is. It's the most basic one, and it's the easiest to implement. Okay?
Physical contact.
Physical contact, exactly. Now, we don't do that when we're outdoors working the high-risk operator team tactics. Why not? Because you have a big, broad area, and there is no need to, quote, bunch up like that. Okay? Mark can be 10 meters away to my left. I look over there, I see him, I've got visual contact with him. No problem, okay? If we're working in here and Mark is 10 meters away, he could be in another room. Okay, now what's the problem with that? I hear gunfire in that room. What do I know? Nothing. Can I just shoot into that room? No, I can't. Right? I need to go into that room and get visual contact with my buddy in order to be able to help him one way or the other. All right, so it's important that you don't lose that, and to ensure that you don't lose that, you stay in physical contact with one another. Especially a valuable thing if you have disparity of skill sets. In other words, you are a very tactically astute, trained person. Your number 2 isn't. Okay, so you can use them in this context. For the guys that have done a lot of HRO team tactics, think of this as traveling cover. You bring your cover with you. All right. So in other words, if Mark and I are working, okay, moving, covering. I advance, he stays behind, covering, and so on. In this context, it's moving, covering, and he comes with me. All right? And we don't even need to have that dialogue because he's right next to me. And I can just point, cover over there, and that sort of thing. Okay? So it can be in any number of configurations. Basically what you're doing here is you're dividing the areas of responsibility. Okay, so this one here, basically we've got, guns pointed outboard. That can work fine. Okay, so you've got, basically the 11 o'clock and the 1 o'clock. Over here, the guns could be crossing. One place where this might be workable is if you're coming up to a T intersection. Now, the concern is we don't want to be pointing at each other, but we can change levels and that can work out just fine, okay? Especially when you're about to enter a room. Okay, this is a configuration that would work pretty good. Okay, guns pointed outboard, right and left, 90-degree angle on the guns. For example, you're moving toward an objective, but there's an area of concern over to the right. As you're moving, your partner basically shifts his gun. He doesn't have to turn his whole body and now back up like they do in classic SWAT school. We're ambidextrous, so you realize there's a danger area off there, you're moving this direction, what do? You transfer the rifle, you become left-handed shooter, and you continue moving in a natural way while you're covering that danger area. No problem, okay? Front and rear, moving side to side, front and rear, like they used to say in SWAT school, butt to butt or back to back, okay? So you can cover different danger areas, okay? You can basically cross the guns, you can stagger the positions, you can, whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter. The only thing that you don't want to do is point the guns at each other, okay? But any configuration there is just fine, all right? Now, if you have a third party, okay, the third party could be the more skilled party, or it could be an unskilled party, it doesn't matter. Okay, and it could work like this, where you have guns pointed out here and there, and gun pointed to the rear, or number 3 could be the team leader, basically driving the first two, okay, point over there, point over here, and stuff like that. A 3-man cell is very easy to manage, very easy to control, and it is a even stronger force multiplier in these environments. Okay, and again, these guns can be pointed anywhere they want. Okay, and this configuration can work like this as well. Okay, where you have 1, 2, and 3. You have one gun pointed there, one gun pointed there, one gun pointed to the rear, whatever. Okay, so I can think of a little clover leaf, a little clover leaf of death that's moving down this hallway, hunting bad guys. Okay, yes.
Question, if you know how you rescued John yesterday, and moved him out, that kind
Right.
of stuff. If you have 3 people there, and let's say you have to get a kid out of the house,
Right.
mom and dad, kid out of the house, and
Right.
everything. How would you do that in the 3-man?
Who are your shooters and who are not your shooters?
Mom and dad are shooters.
Okay, mom and dad are shooters, so what I would do is, mom, you grab the kid, I'm the primary shooter. If I go down, you're the primary shooter. You cover our 6 as we're moving.
Okay.
And the thing is, when you are moving people that way, you are grabbing them and pulling them if they're not cooperative. It's not an ask and gentle, let's go for a walk kind of thing. I mean, you got to grab them by the frickin' hair. You grab them by the hair and you pull them, because there should be some understanding that when it's time to leave, it's time to leave. If nothing else, just grab my belt, okay, and don't let go and stay with me. And then you basically clear the path.
Got it. If you're just the shooter and mom is not and kid is not.
Then the non-shooter is basically another protectee. It's easier to handle one protectee than handle 2. So I would have the mom or that second party control any of the children, while the primary shooter is basically moving and clearing the way. And again, the whole idea of this is that one person does not have so many jobs to do or problems to clear that they're overwhelmed. You can divide the aspects. Now, when you're basically doing the escape and evade, traversing through, and so on and so forth, not only do you have the job of clearing the path, but also finding the safe path, eliminating any adversaries in the way, bringing those non-combatants with you. So you got 4 things to do. If you can at least assign the bringing the non-combatants with you to somebody else while you do these other 3, well, your job just became much easier, right? So it is all about division of labor. Okay. All right. This is the easiest structure here. Okay. Now that doesn't mean that we can't separate this. Okay, where we have 1 and 2 over here and 3 over here stacked in front of the door like that. Doesn't mean we can't do that. Okay. Again, as long as we maintain visual contact, we're good to go. So you can separate people and so on without a whole lot of problem. Okay.
The only time there's a gap is when you can't see the other person. That's the only
Yeah,
time.
exactly. And that's what you want to avoid doing at all costs in the CQB environment, is losing sight of your other teammates. I get intel from all kinds of places and whatnot, and sometimes I get these issues where good guys have shot other good guys and things like that. And usually it's because people overextend themselves in their tactics. Okay, I'll give you an example. Okay, you have 2 SWAT teams. You have a building. Okay, like something like erase this kind of stuff here. Okay, let's say you have a big building here like this. Okay, and you've got your your rooms and whatever the configuration is, and just how crazy a house can get. Okay, so you have one door over here, you have one door over here. All right, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have 2 SWAT teams that are going to make entry from opposite places. They're going to link up right here. Okay, so this guy goes in and he goes there. This guy goes in and goes there. And, all this kind of stuff. Chaos and smoke and everything else. And maybe the link up doesn't take place here, but guys pass the link up, and now here's one SWAT guy and the other SWAT guy, and they know that they're not supposed to meet over here, and all they see is a gun muzzle, and you know, you can imagine what that kind of stuff leads to, okay? Again, overreaching tactics, okay, overreaching tactics. You look at this configuration, what are they in there to do? Well, you know what, secure a couple of stupid pot plants or something? I mean, give me a break, okay? Not, you know, that's stupid. What would be a better thing to do? Keep your team, you know, close and tight, and not overextend yourself in your tactics. You know, when you're doing things for real, when you're doing stuff in a shoot house at some SWAT competition or something, you can do whatever you want because nothing's going to happen. Okay, but you know, when it's for real, your tactics, all the stuff that you do, needs to be very conservative because if you make a mistake, people die. Okay. All right. Comments, questions so far? Basically, it's the same setup here. Okay, you identify the corner. What's the first thing you do when you're looking at the corner?
Right or left hand?
Right or left hand, okay? And then you're identifying what? The apex of the corner. All right, so they're focusing on this spot right here. And they're gonna do the same thing. They're gonna go, okay, they see this so far. Okay, good. Then they move, okay, here, all right, and they see this much more. And remember, the closer they get to this line of decision,
Yes.
you know, the more they have to concern themselves with. Okay, now, here's something that I wanna put out to you guys. Okay, as shooters, you have, here's one target, here's the other target. Okay, figure 2 targets, 3 yards away, 1 yard apart, center to center. Okay, how long does it take you to hit both of them?
Fraction of a second.
Almost nothing. Just fire a 3-round burst and just move the gun across and you're gonna hit both of them. Okay? Cool. Now, let's do this. There's one. There's the other. Problem just got harder for you? Okay? Yeah. Why? Just the distance between the guys. Okay? Keep that in mind. All right. Anyway, they get to this, close to this point of line of decision, they realize, you know what, I don't think that we want to go any farther, okay? So, could be number 2, could be number 1, doesn't matter. Okay, there goes number 1, moving. Okay, and again, remember, number 1 is moving in that direction, but his gun is pointed into that hard corner. All right? At the same time, what number 2 does is he breaks that threshold and points in, but he does so from a low position. Okay? It could be Spetsnaz prone, it could be kneeling, it could be, you know, supine, it could be the Jackie Chan roll, and whatever, doesn't matter. Okay? Now, what's going on here is that this guy begins moving, okay? And it's a very dynamic, aggressive move. Where is the bad guy's gun drawn? Okay, to the movement. Well, we saw from what we do in force on force that dynamic angular movement, it saves you from the bad guy's gun, gives you the opportunity to put between 2 to 4 rounds into his body before he's able to get back on target. Okay, so while the bad guy is dealing with you moving and you're shooting him, this guy rolls out and he's also shooting. Okay?
So is he using the corner as cover then?
Could be, could be. You know, he's basically just, he's coming down low, and it's all pre-planned and pre-choreographed. Okay, how low you get and how you do that is limited only by your own physical agility. Okay, this is all about movement. But you see the problem for the bad guy here. Okay, it really sucks to be him.
So 1 comes out before 2 rolls.
I would say that 1 comes out just a nose hair before 2, and then 2 rolls out and he covers that hard corner right away. Okay, if nothing happens, 2 gets up and they join together. They're right back in their 2-man stack, moving to the next objective.
It's very quick, it's very fluid.
Yes, but it ends up with 1 shooting and 2 shooting, and here's B going, okay, do I shoot this guy? Do I shoot? What? By the time he is able to realize what happens,
Cancel Christmas.
you know, yeah, end of story. Your birthday's been canceled. You've been reassigned. Okay.
And there's really no danger of 1 and 2 pointing in on each other when you
That's
use
right,
it.
because they maintain this configuration here. Okay.
Geez, it's tough to be a bad guy in that situation. huh?
If you're going up against the Suarez guy, yeah.
It also gives overlapping arcs of fire.
Okay.
And so if there's two guys, or two bad guys, are you engaging both bad guys?
Well, we're talking about one corner here, okay? You're attacking this spot here.
Okay.
Because remember, you've seen everything on the other side of the corner. This is, you own all of this.
Right.
Okay, the only thing you don't own is this area right here. So as you clear this, that's where you're focusing your weapons.
Okay.
Okay? You know, if there's one guy, two guys, it doesn't matter, okay? That's why we have high capacity magazines.
Okay.
All right?
If it's Larry going to Curly, they all get a piece.
Happy stick.
Okay? All of a sudden, doing that corner is kind of cool, isn't it? A lot easier than it was before. Okay? All right, let's look at T intersections. All right, again, remember, you could have bad guy on the right, bad guy on the left, no bad guys, or two bad guys. What's the worst case situation? Two bad guys. So that's what we want to focus on when we're doing this problem. Okay? All right, so we have the number 1 and the number 2. Okay, B is the bad guy, the numbers are our operators. All right, same thing as before. Okay, now, when they do this, they can separate, okay? You know, all right, looking here, looking there, and again, moving in unison, looking here, looking there, looking here, looking there. They can do that, right? Okay, that's one possibility. Okay, another possibility. Okay. Okay. You see the difference there? Why would you use one over the other? In our context here.
Contact and how skilled the second shooter
Exactly.
is.
Skilled operators versus non-skilled operators. Okay, if you're working with another skilled guy, hey, you take that wall, I take this wall, and we work and we move and so on, no problem. Okay, if you have a non-skilled person that you're working with, he doesn't know what he needs to do there because he doesn't even know how to take a corner. Okay, stay with me. All right, and then you move together. You're controlling him as you're clearing. You will use him when the time comes, but you're controlling him, you know, for the time being here. Okay. Also, if you're working in very low light and this hallway is very wide and the possibility of losing sight of one another, okay, that may also be a concern here. All right. Again, there's a lot of ways to do this. I'm giving you the simplest, most effective ones, the safest ones, in other words. Okay. All right. Okay, so we know the configurations here, all right? Basically, they will have seen everything except these hard corners here where the bad guys potentially could be hiding. Everything else here they own, right? Okay. Now, we can end up with 1 and 2. All right, knowing what we know about movement, what's the best way for them to take the spot? Crisscross. Okay, guys will say button hook. Just remember the guys in South Africa that got shot up, okay? Not a good idea. It's faster to do a crisscross. The other thing is, it's very easy to get two guns into that same space in a crossing format with a little coordination, okay? Again, if you don't have the skilled guy working with you, we'll address that in a second, okay? But basically, this guy moves this way, this guy moves that way, okay? His responsibility is to get a gun into that corner. His responsibility is to get a gun into that corner, okay?
And we're still not going too deep once we pass the fatal funnel.
Well, it depends on how deep you need to go. But again, the idea is not to get too separated from the guys.
As a teaching point, are we having them when they cross, going to Sewell, anything like that?
No, as soon, basically, they're moving in this configuration, and then as soon as they take that, they're driving the gun toward that threat area.
Okay.
Okay, and yeah, we do point guns at people. You know, our rule too is don't do it carelessly. We're doing it very carefully. All right? So, you know, and again, it's the same thing that we did before. This time, you don't have to look over your shoulder because, well, you got your number 2 helping you out there. Okay, so that works pretty good. Okay, now, if you have, you know, the unskilled operator, you're gonna have to tell them what to do, and they're gonna have to follow your instructions, all right? If they don't, you might as well do it by yourself, okay? But you can do this, okay, where you have 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 move together. Number 2's gun goes there, number 1's gun go there. So they both move along the same axis, the same angle, but we have guns moving in different directions. Okay? So in this context, you know, number 1 is moving here like this, number 2 is moving here like
So in
this.
that context, I'd probably have your more skilled guys number 2 because you're coming across more in a point shoulder.
Could happen, yeah. Yeah. Okay, probably not only point shoulder, but also left-handed point shoulder.
Left-handed point shoulder,
Okay,
yeah.
and this is, again, you know, the team leader does what? He creates order from chaos. So he looks at the T-intersection, and he says, okay, you know, I'm squared away, but my buddy here is a knucklehead. All right? So before you start dealing with this problem, okay, dog, come here. This is how we're gonna handle this, okay? You're gonna go there, you're gonna do this, and then when we get to the point, I'm going to push you into the space. You run, and if there's anybody in that corner, you light them up. I'm gonna be hot on your ass, grabbing onto your belt, okay? And then you get on there, and you know, it's on, when you feel my push, don't go, 1, 2, yeah, this isn't, you know,
Yeah.
Jack Bauer on 24 or anything like, grab onto his belt, you give him a push, and you push his ass right across that threshold, and you get your gun out there, okay? And that's how you get through that process. Now, can it go the other way? Yeah, sure, it depends. You choose which way you want to go, right? The heavier part, where the bad guy's supposed to be, that's probably where you should be focusing, okay? All right, so that's how you would do a T-intersection with 2 guys. If you have a 3rd guy, you know what? No big deal. You know, maybe what he's gonna do is he's just gonna, over here, and as soon as you take that spot, he's gonna do what the number 2 guy would have done in the corner, okay? Or he travel along with you, it depends. All right, you have a lot of those different options there.
I'm sorry, say that again?
The 3rd guy, he could hold here and point his gun down in that direction like we did when we were doing the corner, okay? Or, very easily, he could simply travel along with you and fill the gap, okay? You know, we tell the guys in the HRO program, you know, basically find a job for yourself, okay? You know, the first guy in line, he's got his gun pointed over there. Second guy in line, he's got his gun pointed over here. 3rd guy walks up, okay, is it gonna help me to point my gun over there or over here? No. Maybe I'll point it over here. So he looks for a job for himself and he makes it happen, okay? Okay, so I'm working this. Now again, if I know that he's a hostile, okay, and I've got my idea in mind of what I'm gonna do here, okay? And I'm clearing and clearing. Okay, now there's an elbow. Okay, now I can see his reflection and all that kind of stuff, but let's assume that we don't have that. All right, and I see the elbow there. Okay, you know, and all right, well, if there's an elbow, there's probably an arm and a shoulder and a torso and everything else attached to it. If I'm just in the let's see what that sound was all about mode, what are my options here? Oh crap, there really is somebody. You know, go, take cover, maybe take a covered position there, get your cell phone from your war bag, which you should have anytime you go and search. Searching being a proactive and not a reactive thing. 911, hey, I got a bad guy in my house, I got him pinned down. Don't you move from that room or I'll light you out. Okay, right on 911. You better send some people, I got a home invader, blah, 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 blah. Okay, no problem, fantastic. If I've decided beforehand that this is an enemy and I am in the type of situation where I need to eliminate him, okay, I've got him there, let me make sure I don't get my finger in the way there, okay, and I see that, okay, right there, this is what I'm going to do. That's what I see, that's where I'm putting my round. Does everybody see his elbow? Okay? Okay? All right, now, as I engage, this is how I'm going to work it. Okay, I want you to close your eyes so I don't get a laser in your eyes. Okay, just keep them closed until I tell you you're good.
Free
Okay.
today only.
Yeah, free LASIK today only. No, we don't want to do that. Okay, so I engage him. Okay, now it's this. Okay, you see how I played that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, did you get it on camera? You want me to do it again?
One more time.
Okay. All right, keep your eyes closed there. LASIK patient. Okay.
Hold on a second.
Just a second.
He's gonna go behind you, probably on your shoulder
Okay.
or something.
We need a helmet cam.
Okay, well, you know what? We'll get one. Okay, so I identify him here. Okay, there's my shot, there's my shots, there's my shots. Okay? So you notice I went from arm to chest, and I went right, and that's, you know, and I'm basically, this is yours. Okay, all right, surgery is over, you can open your eyes. Okay, basically it's like this. I get on the trigger, okay, and again, this is, you know, no magazine, this is just gas only. Okay, so again, I don't have laser on this, but you get the idea. Okay, I pick up his elbow, and it's, right? And I just go right up the middle. Okay, again, close the eyes. Okay, so I'm coming here, okay, I identify him. Okay. Okay, if I've got, if the intel, and I'm part of a team, the intel they've given me is, Gabe, you got to take your guys in there and you know, deal with this. There's 2 hostiles in there. There's no good guys. We know there's absolutely no good guys. Great. I have the big corporate umbrella protecting me. I go in there and do whatever I need to do. Okay, but I'm not going to be by myself, am I? Okay, so as I'm clearing that, I got Roger over here with his, you know, MP5, and as I take this room, he's going to be going like this. Right? Shooting across, catch guys in the head. If they fall down, he's going to zip them across the body as they go to ground. Okay, so it's going to be like this. Over the top and down below. Okay, like you're cutting a big slice out of the room. As I'm doing this, okay, clear. Penetrate the room, and we're going to go. But that's a whole other round, okay? If the bad guy goes into a room and you know that none of your people, your important, you know, personnel are in there, and he ducks behind this wall, and you know that he's the only one in there, can you deal with him right through the wall? Absolutely. Oh yeah, no problem. No problem. Right with your CCW gun. Go right through the wall. The only thing that'll save him is if there's furniture. Then it's a little bit iffy. Okay? Are you starting to notice that a lot of this stuff is very much a chess game? You know, where it's you being able to look at the chessboard and go, okay, this is where I want to go, this is how I need to get there, you know, and then taking those steps to make it happen. You know, I'm not a great chess player or anything like that, but you know, back in a previous life, I did play a lot of chess, and you know, I was okay, but there were guys that I played with that, I mean, they would kick your ass the minute you sat down at the table with them. And they could look at the you know, the chess table, and they could tell how the game was going to go, where they were going to go. They already had a plan in their head, and they knew so much about how things worked on that chessboard that if something changed, they could change their plan on the fly and still get to where they wanted to go in the end. You know, we have to do the same thing when we're working these tactics. Okay, you know, the corner. Simple problem. T-intersection, it's still a simple problem. We start talking about rooms, now we're getting a little bit more into complex problems, aren't we? Because it's not just dealing with the 2 corners. Well, now it's approaching, it's opening, it's getting in, it's searching. Once you're in, identifying the problem areas in the room, clearing those areas. So there's a lot going on, okay? The more complex problems we get into, the more you're going to see that having additional people to work with is a real asset, okay? Unfortunately, a lot of times you have to work by yourself because that's all you have, okay? But if you can enlist someone to come and help you, you know, to clear and search, and they don't even have to be especially skilled because all you have to do is position them, okay? You know, all right, you know, you get into the room, okay, come in here. Right? You're the one that softens the room. You get in the room, okay, come in here. Stand right there, point your gun down there. Okay? All they need to do is, if a target pops up, boom, they shoot it. Same thing that they did on the range, right? Right? Put some rounds in, okay, you're done. Right? That's all they're doing. In the meantime, you get to do your clearing. What are they doing for you? They're covering your back. Okay? So it's one less area that you have to look at. Now, if they're also tactically skilled, no problem. Now it's easy. Because now you take whatever problem you have and you start dividing it. Remember that complex problem we put on the board? As you're standing there looking at this, how many problems have you got? I think we identified, what, like 8 or 9 or something like that? Okay? You've got another person on your team, well now you've only got 4 problems. Okay? You got 3 people on your team, now you only got 3 problems. Or 2. Okay? So it really makes life easier. If you can exploit that, by all means, do it. Okay? The other thing I want to talk about is If we look at this room here, okay? All right, we look at this room here. Let's say I approach from here, okay? And I'm checking, I've got like a long gun here, good heavens. Okay, and you know, I'm checking, and I realize, okay, you know what? This is a long wall. I need to go into this part of the room here. Okay, this is the dangerous part of the room. But for whatever reason, I can't allow myself to move in here. Here's a perfect example. There's an adjacent room there that I haven't cleared yet. Okay, so I don't want to go any farther than here, because if I do, what do I start doing? I start exposing myself to this room. This is when you start becoming a chess player here, right? Okay, so this is where you would do something like this, where you're here, and you're going to do kind of a double takeoff here. You're going to come in, boom, and you're going to push off this way, okay? Where I basically come in, okay, and I step, okay, now you notice what I'm doing here, okay? I'm catching the door here, and I'm propelling myself deep into the room, pushing myself off of this door jamb, okay? You know, when it's done, you know, quick time, let's say, it's, okay? Now, from your perspective, how much time am I dwelling here in this, you know?
Quarter of a second, maybe.
Yeah, and then I'm gone.
Can you do it again?
Sure. I could do this whole bit.
Okay, go.
You know, so it's boom, here, right? Okay? Now again, if you're running this barefoot, this is hard on the feet, okay? So you gotta be wearing footwear that supports your ability to do this. But all it is I act as if I'm going in this direction, and then I plant the foot and I push off. Okay, so it's like I'm doing this. Okay? Here, there. Okay? Except I'm pushing off the door jamb. Okay? And that's a lot faster than doing this. That's slow.
One more time on the door jamb.
Okay? And again, you figure the timing. So here, okay?
Got it, yeah.
I'm going to show you how to get two bodies into a room or through a T-intersection simultaneously. Again, the big danger, sometimes it's unavoidable, is getting one guy in the room and then the other. And the problem is, if you have bad guys on both sides of the door, you know, what ends up happening is the first guy through offers his back to one of the bad guys, and, you know, then there's a possibility he's going to get shot and so on, and then the second guy has to come in briefly afterward, okay? And usually what that looks like, in fact, John, you've done this before, so grab your blaster and come on over. Again, yellow barrel, and we're using a red gun. Okay, so you're on that side of the door, I'm on this side of the door. Again, what invariably, you know, teams end up doing, or, you know, two-man elements end up doing is, okay, you're number one, you go first, okay, go. He goes in, and then I go in, okay, and so on. Now, the problem with that, again, is you notice that John went in, and basically his back is totally uncovered. So we're having one gun in the room, and then the second gun in the room, all right? Again, sometimes if the configuration of the door is such, like it's at the, you know, along an adjacent wall, then you don't have any way to stack people on the other side, and so on. Sometimes that's unavoidable. But again, if you can avoid it, you definitely want to avoid it. Here's how you get two guns into the room at the same time. You want to have guys on opposite sides of the door, okay? So I've got my pistol up here. And again, you know, I need to have high pistol because why do I want to be pointing my gun at my own teammate? It doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm going to go high gun over here. Again, we're offset from the wall a little bit so that we have room to maneuver. Okay, and I'm going to coordinate with John. John is going to be number one. Okay, now we're going to go almost slow motion here so you can see how this works. Okay, all right, so he takes a step forward, I take a step forward, he penetrates into the room low. Okay, now go back. Okay, he penetrates into the room low. Okay, I put my hand on his back and I penetrate, freeze in place there, and I penetrate into the room this way. Okay, now you notice his body and his gun is in the room. My body is not in the room, but my eye and my gun are taking that hard corner. Okay? He passes, and I keep going. Okay? it's important that you put your hand on his back so that you can it's almost like, it's a feeling of almost diving over him, okay? It'll work the other way as well. Go ahead and get on the other side there, okay? All right, again, offset from the wall so you have room to move. Okay, he starts to move, go. Okay, I move, go ahead, keep going, keep going, keep going. And I'm over the top this way into the room, okay? Now again, this isn't a Weaver, isosceles, or anything like that, but we know very well that as long as you have eyes on target and you have a strong enough grip, you can get hits on the target. And again, what kind of distance are we talking about here? 2-3 yards? You know, good grief, I could close my eyes and still hit somebody 3 yards away, okay? Anybody that will tell you different is a novice with a handgun and doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. I don't care what units they work for, they don't know what they're talking about, okay? You know, the context is this, okay, John, just stand right over here, okay, deep hard corner right there, okay, you know, all right, and I'm coming in like this, wham, okay, there I am, okay? So, again, I could be looking at somewhere, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. In fact, we turn the laser on to give the training designation. I come in, wham, there I am, okay? Without ever using sights or anything, you can see that my pistol is well aligned on his torso, and I'm gonna get good hits on there, okay? I think that guys that want to argue that point have never trained with Roger or me or any of us. We know better, okay? All right, let's look at that again. Let's go real slow, but flowing this time. Okay, so we're not breaking it down, we're just, you know, flowing through. On you. Okay? All right, let's pick up the speed. Okay? And again, I am the number 2, I'm keying off of his movement. Okay? Simple as that. All right? Now, basically we're going to come out into this space here, so you're going to see what that looks like. John, come on in. Take a position there. Okay, on you. Okay. All right. Anyway, that's basically how it works. 2 guns in the room at the same time. Nobody's back is left uncovered. Again, eyeball and muzzle. Like we said, all your movements, all your tactics are set up to put your eye and your muzzle into the threat area.
Can you come out one more time?
Sure.
And action.
Okay. Question?
Obviously a lot easier with a handgun than a long gun.
To a degree, yeah. Let's go ahead and do it slow. Okay. Now, knowing that I'm going to be, you know, going over the top, okay, I'm going to be basically going high ready gun. It doesn't make any sense to be low ready knowing that I'm going to have to go over the top of my partner. Okay, so I'm going to be going high ready gun, okay, and I'm keying on him. He starts moving, and I'm over the top into the room. Okay? Again, 3 yards away, what do you think?
Yeah.
Okay? I don't think it's going to be any problem.
Aligning down the side of the wall. I mean, the visual input on aligning down the side of the wall,
Oh, yeah.
all you gotta do is run it parallel. I mean,
Okay.
never even thought about that before until...
Yeah, just run it, you're good to go. You know, if you're a little off, right or left, it's not a big deal.
Can I ask a question?
Okay? Yes.
Due to height differences and stuff like that, do people discuss this stuff? Because it
Yeah,
looks like a
if
picture
we
like
were
jumping
if we were
over.
actually doing this operationally, I would definitely be going low.
Low, yeah,
Okay.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, but I wanted to show that you can do this, you know, one-handed, no problem. Now, the AK, do we have that one handy? Okay, it's really easy to do that with a Uzi or mini Uzi. Again, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Clear. All right. You know, there's guys that say, no, it always has to be like this when you shoot and everything. You know what? Nonsense. Obviously, people that have never trained with us, okay? You know, if you're standing 3 yards away, I can punch this rifle out. If it's too heavy, I can keep it in my shoulder, okay? Punch this out and so on. Or, you know what? Nothing says that I can't do this if I have to, right? So if I recognize, okay, this is a left-handed corner, right? If I was clearing it myself, I would be wanting to go left-handed. Okay, it's a left-handed corner, and I know that I'm going to have to go over the top of John, and I'm like this, right? You got to adapt. You go, okay, let me see. I can either go like that, which 3 yards away is no big deal, okay? Or I can go, I'm gonna go this way, and I'm gonna handle this as a left-handed guy. Works a heck of a lot better. So now I'm going high ready gun, okay? And I'm going over the top, right? And I dive right over him, you know, almost like you're diving over a wave with the gun. This time I can keep both hands on my weapon. The one concern about that is that if John is wearing some sort of body armor, LBE or whatever, magazine could hang up on him. Okay? So, you know, that's why a lot of times I'll prefer to run like this and just kind of go one-handed. Okay, trap the sling and everything else. Okay, we're ready again. Okay? All right? And I get the gun on board. Okay? Again, one thing we tell guys is, look, whatever weapon you use in CQB, if you can't hold it out here at arm's length while you're doing your drills, either you need to get a lighter gun or you need to get stronger. Okay?
Can you come out?
And, say again?
Can you come out?
Sure. Okay, this time I'm going to go low, you go over the top. Okay?
Go.
All right? No big deal. All right? Any questions? Okay, what I want you guys to do now is make partners with somebody, and I want you to work 2 times in, 2 times out, then somebody else come on up and do it. This is a really good T-intersection to work this at because it allows you to maneuver. Okay? Once we're done learning it on this, we'll move to the different doors and we'll start working on the different doors. Okay? Cool? Let's go to work.
Yeah, I wish we'd been taught that before. That's real handy.
It's
Because,
you know,
half the time,
you know what? And 2 guys, you know, like you and Chris working together, helping shoes on and everything else, you can get through an opening at the same time without any drama.
because that was one of the things that always, there was always that prickly feeling back here. I'd cross in, and I'm like, okay, I know the guy behind me is really good. But
Okay,
there's
smart
still
house. It's like this.
that
Watch.
second or so
Right,
where...
work with me. Okay, Mark, come on out here and watch.
Me scusi.
Okay, all right, so I'm here. Okay, Roger's moving, and here, this is my shooting position here. You see, I'm over the top, and I'm basically diving into the room, you know, shooting this way. Okay, I don't have to go 2 hands. I don't have to be squared off. It's basically, it's like a, okay, this is weird, a flying incortada. It's basically this. Okay.
You're using basically his back as a platform.
I am,
Yeah.
yeah. In fact, Mark, go over here and just stand in the threshold here. Okay, just basically do this. Right here like this. Okay, go. All right, so I'm doing this. I'm getting here. Okay, and now when I push you, you move into the room. Go. Right, that's basically the feeling. There you go.
Oh, that guy was light.
Let's go in one last time then. You go first.
You go first this time.
What's wrong? Okay, good.
That's okay. No, it'll be too early. You see that? Okay, come on back.
Felt that one.
Now, here's what we're gonna do. Go ahead and walk through it slow. Okay, just like a step at a time. Okay, step 1, step 2, freeze. Okay, see, he's penetrating into the room. At this point, you want to be over the top. Stay there, done. Okay, you're doing this. Okay, you see how that's working? Okay, because you got guns in here, you got guns in here. Okay, now what you're going to do is continue, wham. You see how that works?
Let's do it. Again.
Half speed. Half speed.
Switch hands.
Switch hands?
Yeah.
Might help you.
If you switch hands,
other hand,
if you go left-handed, you get your...
That's it.
Okay, all right, now you felt how that was. You're like this. Okay, is it better to go like this or is it better to go like this?
That didn't feel as good.
Didn't feel as good, did it?
No.
Try it the other way. Try it with the pistol in your right hand. You know, you feel him through. I mean, it sounds kind of like a weird term, but and then reach over. Yeah. See the difference there? It's very expansive. You're almost, it's almost like an incortada. All right. I'll be number 3. Yeah. Picture, okay, this is the bad guy here. Let me have the pistol here. This is the bad guy here. He's shooting at you, and you're going like this. Okay? So it's like, okay, he's right here, and you're doing this. Right? You get your body through.
Okay. Swap sides. Okay, you go low on this one.
I'll go on the side there. Yeah, you feel how that works?
Oh, yeah.
That's cool, huh?
Yeah, it is, and, yeah, because you're not all,
Yeah, now, do it on the way out, and you'll see that, okay, basically you get guns into the room at the same time. There it is. There's no lag time, it's guns simultaneous. That's cool. Cool, good stuff.
If you guys are doing it right, you basically almost have, you have both feet off the floor when you're doing it.
Yeah.
You can see it.
All right, once you've done it, find a door and start playing.
You go first?
All right, you're low.
There you go, yeah. Yeah, now Scott, you know, you kind of like, you know.
I was waiting on him to get out of the
Okay,
way.
now you know what? You drive him out of the way. It's like this. Okay, go ahead, come on in. Okay, go. It's this way, right? You know, I just put my hand on it and I push him out of the way. There you go. Nice. Cool.
I'll go low.
reverse homing.
There you go.
Just run that one again.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Come back out.
All right.
You know what, when they came, I don't care about them.
That was nice, huh?
You can even see it here on the picture, how he's pushing off of her.
Cool. That's beautiful.
Don't squish the holiday.
Okay, when everybody's done it, gather up over here. Make sure
Nice,
everybody's
guys.
done it.
Okay.
You know, I would identify these two problems here, and I would determine where do I need to go. Okay, if I need to go here, I'm going to organize my movement to facilitate movement here or here or here, depending on where I need to go. Okay, so that's the first thing. Then I would identify these problems. I can't do more than one problem at a time, but what I can do is, as I'm approaching this, I'm also looking here. Okay, you know, and so I'll deal with, let's say I need to go to my left over here. Okay, so I end up over here. Okay, I'm losing colors here. Okay, I'll end up over here. All right, and you know, I'm getting a little bit more information and everything else and whatever. Let's say I need to go in this direction. I'm going to do what I need to do, but I'm always cognizant of what I've got down here. Okay, so it's not always eye muzzle target. It's okay, this is my primary area, but you know, oh, crap, what was that over there? You know, really avoiding making target indicators. Okay, because I have no idea where the bad guy is. Okay, to do this T intersection right here, easy, take me 30 minutes, at least.
If you do this
Okay.
too slowly, I mean, isn't there also the danger that your BGs are not static?
Yeah.
So an area that you've cleared,
Well, but you know what? You can hear them.
yeah.
Okay, if they're stalking you and you're stalking them, now it's a tough deal. Okay, but you know, I would get over here and I'd go, okay, well, let me see. I can see all of this. Okay, when I know I have another one here. Okay, and I have another one here. All right, well, crap. You know what? This is dark. I have to be careful of this, but I can move over here. Okay, and eliminate all of this from my problem now. Okay, so I would move over here, clear this, okay, and now I identify this corner, I deal with this corner, closed door, not that big of a deal, open door, a little bit more important, move over here, deal with this, maybe enter this room, clear this room, bypass this door if I don't have to go in, and then I'm down the road. And I have basically ignored all this other stuff because it's got nothing to do with me. Right? But I mean, there's a lot of tactical, this looks like a freaking football game here, look at this. Okay? You know, there's a lot of thinking to go on. There are times where I would do a search with a 3-man group, you know, it would take 2 hours to do, and in 2 hours, and this is in the wintertime, you know, and just wearing regular, you know, patrol armor and stuff like that, not SWAT stuff, I'd have to go back to the locker room, change, and take a shower, because I was soaked from head to toe, exhausted, you know, where I was like almost not even able to talk, and needed to go and buy a bottle of Gatorade and drink it all down, because I mean, the amount of mental focus that goes into one of these searches, I mean, it's intense stuff. You know, you think it's hard in training. Do it when you know there's really bad guys in here going to kill you if they see you. That's a whole different deal.
Right.
You know, it's exhausting stuff. Okay, but it's also a lot of fun. Okay, but anyway, now you see how, okay, if you don't know how to do a T intersection, and you don't know how to do a corner, and all this kind of stuff, and you know, brand new guy in class, and I go, okay, here's your problem, what do you do? Run, run, find a happy place. You know, so we gotta give them the tools first.
Well, my concern, I think, is more with like, I guess with a room entry or something. If you're coming in at the angle, are you not, like if there's a closet over here, is there a time where your angle is too steep?
That's page 5, we're on page 3.
Okay, so I hit set.
Okay. Okay, so now I approach this area here and I'm looking at my danger areas. All right, very good. I've got a corner here, I've got a corner there. I can't see the other door, so I don't even know if there's one there, but I see the far door and I see 2 open doors. In fact, what we'll do, Corinna, if you can close Charlie's door, that will give us a closed door and an open door, a little bit of variety. Okay, and again, I know we can see through that door, but for instructional purposes, let's pretend that we don't know that. All right, as the team leader, I'm looking at this, I'm going, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this desk is 6. All right, we're going to ignore this half of the room here for now. Okay, so I've got 6 problems. All right, cool. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my number 2 and I'm going to say, okay, you cover those 2 doors. Okay, I'm going to take my number 3 and I'm going to move him probably on the other side of John. Come on over here. You're on the other side, and I want you to cover long distance on that door there. Okay? All right, now, the reason I'm doing this, I've got multiple problems, and I know I can handle this corner by myself. Okay? Now, we're going to move together. The reason is because I don't want them, go ahead and point in at your given threats, guys. Okay? All right, let's do this. Let's have you point at those doors there and you point at these doors. Okay, if you leave those guns there and I start clearing this corner, what do we got? We've got a little bit of a structural problem, don't we? Okay, so what I'm going to do is, remember that clover leaf that we talked about? Okay? You know, we're going to move together as we start clearing this corner. Guys, so you key on my movement. Stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. Okay? All right, freeze. Okay, now, on me, you guys take the space. Ready? Move. Okay, very good. Okay, now, they cover these doors. Let's not get too deep in the problem, guys. Come on back, come on back. Hang out right here. Okay, hang out right there. Okay, good. So we dealt with this problem. We got those doors covered, no sweat. In fact, John is also addressing that door there. Okay, now in this case, I might leave John Payne behind. I still have eye contact with him, so it's not a big deal. I may take John Chambers with me because we have multiple threats here. We got 2 open doors side by side. Okay, so John Payne, you're covering these threads here. Okay, all right, so we start moving. Okay, we've got these doors, and I say, okay, stop. Okay, you cover that door, I cover this door. Move with me, move with me. Okay, hold, hold, hold. Okay, all right, I'm going to penetrate into this room. You come with me back to back. Ready? Move. All right, we're good. All right, and we come back out. He's had eyes on thread the longest, so he starts to move. Okay, now what John could have done as well is moved here with us, right next to this wall. Okay, so we maintain closer contact. You're still focused on those doors over there. Okay, very good. Okay, you're first. Move. Okay, I go with him. I realize small room. I can stay out here and wait. Okay, very good. He comes out. He's with me now. Okay, John, you're number 1. You've had eyes on target the longest. Okay, we're with you. Okay. Now, why is he bypassing this door? It's closed. It's not as much of a threat. Now, he's taking a gamble here, but that's an appropriate gamble. Okay? So, what might happen now is John Chambers, he moves over here, because again, we're isolating this part of the room. He moves over here. He gets a good visual on the door. And basically, we have number 1 and number 2. They're going to do the crossover. What's my role? Stay behind and deal with this door. Okay? So, we're here. All right? And I basically move here and wait.
Clear.
Clear?
2 men coming out.
Okay, go on. Okay, now you notice what he did. He touched me, he let me know I'm there. If he just stands there, and I'm focused on what I'm doing. If he doesn't do something, let me know he's there. I have no idea. Okay, and we don't need to get too elaborate about how do you tap. Just put your hand on his shoulder, give him a squeeze. Okay, all right, cool. So now we're ready to go. Okay, we start moving around this door. Okay. Okay, and we're clear. Okay? Simple as that. Now you notice how I identified the problem, I assigned people to the problem, and we took our time. Now right now, in the beginning, because we haven't worked together before, I'm telling these guys, okay, I need you to cover this, I need you to cover that, and so on and so forth. Okay? Later on, it's a very simple thing. You know, if I'm over here like this, I can just put my hand on him. All right, like let's say, come on back over here. Okay? Like back to the corner here. Okay, very simple communication. All right? Okay, we're here like this. I'll just go like this. I'll grab a hold of John, okay? And I'll go like this. I'll point there. Okay? So he knows he needs to do that. All right? Now I may come over here and I get nice and close and say, okay, cover the door to your left. Cover the door to your left. Don't whisper. Talk quietly. Whispers carry for a long distance. Talking quietly, not as much. Or if I want to really be quiet, I'll come up, I'll touch him, and I'll go right over there. Okay? You know, and it's, again, your standard SOP or whatever you want to call it, we're going to do the corner now. Okay, great. So you're with me. Okay, move. We do the corner. Fantastic. Okay, and I just grab him and I stop him. Okay? Okay? Stay on those doors. Okay? And then we continue. So you can talk to them without having to verbalize anything. You know, just grab them, you know, look over there, or point over there, or whatever. Okay? Very simple stuff. We don't need to get super elaborate like a catcher at a baseball game. He's got his whole tactical sign language or whatever. All right? There's not that much that we need to discuss. Basically, go, stop, look, point, you know, stuff like that. Okay? Questions? Yes?
Just one thing I noticed, when you're taking the corner as a group over there, be careful not to project your gun out beyond the eyeball of the number one guy.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Now, if you know, you have equally skilled personnel, and you know, you want to exploit everybody's skill levels, can we break this up a little bit? Yeah, absolutely. But this is probably the simplest way to handle this multiple threat problem. Okay? Questions? I want to talk briefly about you know, the use of tools and whatnot in low light. Oh, actually, you know what? Can you go in my office, and there's like a little navy blue camera pack. It's got a night vision device in there. Just bring it out. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Anyway. Most people that do the whole low light thing, or are concerned about low light, you know, they get flashlights and they'll go to some gun school, and what do they teach them? They'll teach them, you know, Rogers. No, not the same Rogers. You know, our Rogers is better. You know, the Rogers, the Harrys, this and that. And that's like the training for low light. These are all the different ways that you can hold your flashlight. Everybody goes ooh ah, and then they go out to the range. Everybody turns their flashlights on. They shoot. You know, and they think, ooh, night fighters, we own the night, and all this kind of stuff, okay? Well, when we were playing around yesterday very briefly, we saw that there's a little bit more to it. Thank you very much. That there's a little bit more to it than just, you know, that sort of thing. You can play around a lot with, you know, with the use of light and lack of and everything else. The thing that a lot of guys kind of get weirded out about is they can't see. Oh my gosh, I can't see. You know, and all this kind of stuff. Well, all right, what's the cool thing about that? They can't see you either, okay? So, you know, it's not like the darkness is a bad thing and we need to, you know, get away from it and stuff like that. No, negative. What we need to do is we need to understand the nature of the environment. We can't see them, they can't see us. That's actually a good thing, okay? Again, we're not out to, you know, completely identify the bad guy and all this sort of thing. It's a little different application than the police role, where, you know, guys are out to, you know, arrest somebody in a structure. Okay, a little bit of different perspective. So, in any case, with the low light use, and again, we're going to develop an entire family of training for this. Number one, we want to advocate both a handheld light and a weapon light. So, best of both worlds, you know, you have something like this, okay? And it isn't so that, you know, if I see a bad guy, I can hold my pistol in stool position and light him up or anything like that. Again, you know what? If a situation has concerned me so much that I'm gonna grab a pistol, all right, I'm not concerned about pointing it at people. People get guns pointed at them all the time, and anybody that says that doesn't happen is an idiot that hasn't set foot in the real world, okay? So, the reason I want to have two, a pistol light, or you know, whatever other kind of light, and a handheld light, is so there are times when I want to deceive the adversary about my position, all right? And if I'm always, you know, always pointed in over here like this, and the light is always attached to my pistol, the bad guy's always going to know the source of the light. However, let's say that I want to, you know, I'm behind cover and I'm being kind of sneaky and I kind of want to illuminate that spot over there, but I kind of think there might be somebody in there. Well, this is where that old technique that everybody laughs about, you know, the FBI stuff. You know, you're down there behind cover and you have your pistol pointed in, but you're bringing the light out here and you're illuminating from a remote position. Now, where does the bad guy think that you're hiding now? Out here in this area, okay? You know, if you were using your weapon light, again, bullets are going to be attracted to the light. What the FBI hold, it's not to be out here on the range going like this, like people do. That's silly, okay? The other thing, as we saw when we were playing around yesterday, we're going to do a little bit more of that today, you can turn this light on and set it in a fixed position, all right, and step away from it. Okay, now, an adversary that is concealed, laying in wait for you in ambush, there is going to be some deception about where you are, because you're playing with his perception of the battlefield, all right? Now, is that just a light that somebody left there? Is my adversary behind the light? Did he go somewhere else? You're creating big questions in his mind that he doesn't have the answer to, all right? And if you move outside of that cone of light, as we saw, you know, you can almost remain invisible to him if the light levels are disparate enough. In other words, if it's dark enough that this is really penetrating the darkness, you stay outside that cone of light, you're pretty much invisible. Okay, so that's why we want to have two of these. Now, the thing about these weapon lights, you know, a lot of guys will try and carry this concealed and everything else. You know, I don't know if that's possible for everybody, but you know, having something that you can put on the gun and so on, that's not a bad thing to have. You know, we all have our war bags that we keep in the office by the bed and all that kind of stuff. You know, there should be a weapon light in there. Okay, again. The whole thing about going and searching in the dark, it is a proactive thing. It's not a reactive thing. You're not going to be in bed with all your gear on and all of a sudden do a takeoff off the bed and draw your weapon. It doesn't work like that. Okay? There is no need to have a speed draw for your flashlight, your lighting tool, if we're going to use that term. Okay? So it's a very proactive thing. You have time to go and get other things to help you in whatever your environment is going to be. Okay. Again, the two lights, they allow dual lighting. You can set a fixed light. You've got that floating light where the light can go where it needs to go. It gives the illusion of a force multiplier. Okay, I got a flashlight here, and I'm over here somewhere. Maybe I need to illuminate something else. From the bad guy's perspective, whoa, there's two lights out there. Good heavens, right? You know. Yeah, one light's moving, the other one not. It's not moving, but you know, what would your perception be? Are you going to take the guess? The one that's not moving is a fixed light, and I can move into it. Probably not, because if you step out into the light, there's a good chance that somebody is monitoring that area there, and they're going to take you out. Okay, so it is a very good tool for deception about your position, your intentions, your avenue of movement, and everything else. An area that really could be explored to a greater degree. Number two, we want to promote erratic light use. Okay, you know, you see all the guys on TV, they go in and boom, the light goes on and they're searching and doing all this kind of stuff. Well, you know what this is? This is basically a searchlight for incoming rounds, right? You know, you're just telling everybody, yes, shoot this way, all right? So you don't want to do that. You want to use the light erratically like we were doing yesterday. You know, I know that strobes are very popular right now. They're like the tactical Gucci fashion and everything else. But you know, in reality, you can do the same thing with just your own, you know, use of the button on the back of the light. You can do the same thing with a weapon light, you know, and you can strobe a lot more erratically using your hands than you can with a standard strobing mechanism. Again, like we talked about, in the reactive force on force setting, the advantage of the light is that you can flash somebody quick and then move off the line of attack, and you've denied them their ability to see you for a split second. And again, we're talking about split second types of fights, so it really is a strong benefit. We've tried the strobes in that environment and everything else, and they offer absolutely no benefit over just a standard handheld light. Okay, where the strobes come in is when we're doing the searching stuff, where you can use again that erratic light. You can either have an erratic light that you're manually operating or an automatic erratic light. But the problem with the automatic one, it's not that erratic. It is sort of a uniform strobe. No one's come up with a technology yet to make it. Anybody have a strobe with them on hand?
Yeah, actually, I do.
Okay. I know. Yeah, it's like who has a knife?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Yeah. See, if you take a look at this, okay, there's a strobe. Again, it's very uniform in its characteristics. Okay, and it's again. In a sudden reactive fight, it's not going to affect the bad guy's vision that much. He's still going to know, okay, the strobe is coming from over there, I'm going to shoot in that direction. Okay, as opposed to using something like this where it's just kind of strobing it wherever you want, and it's more erratic and so on. Yeah, it takes a little bit more work, but advanced people shouldn't be afraid of that sort of thing. Okay.
Strike practice for your trigger finger.
Exactly, just get stronger, right?
Yesterday, when you guys were downstairs clearing the warehouse, Alex was the only one who actually used the flashlight.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see that he did use it.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. We're hopefully, and again, it's the middle of the day out here and so on, but we're going to try and use the lights a little bit more, okay? Especially in some of the darker offices and so on. Okay, other things that you can do is you can bounce the light off of walls and ceilings, okay? You can set the light down and shoot it up into the ceiling. Now again, the LEDs are substantially stronger than the incandescent, okay? And you put the light in the ceiling, what does that do? That pretty much illuminates the entire room, right? So then you can do your incremental search from outside, and you kind of see what's going on there. If there's a mirror in the room or shiny surfaces or whatever, just bounce that light right off, okay? Now, there is a limit, in my opinion, to how bright a light you want. The current trend is what?
Brighter.
Brighter is better. I mean, if they could come out with 1,000, lumen light, people would buy it. Now, what's the problem with it? The minute you turn this on in a dark room, what happens to your night vision? It's gone, okay? So, be careful that you don't go too bright. There is such a thing as too bright for, inside CQB environment.
Brighter it is, the more backwash there is too.
Exactly.
You nail a white wall, you've just lit your stuff up.
Yeah.
What's the guy's name? Black Bear that does the mag light conversions that gets up to like 1,000 lumens.
Yeah.
But I think even he'd tell you, that's for cops searching a back lot, not for CQB.
Yeah. So, in all honesty, I mean, for something like that, you have a parking lot that you need to search or something. What do they have today? They have helicopters with flares and lights and all kinds of stuff. I mean, you can get really special purpose with everything, but just a small light. I'd say like right now, I think they're making like 200 lumens and things like that. That's like borderline how high you want to
the
go.
Malkoffs that we got last year, they're 200.
Yeah, that would I would say
small room.
that's as bright as you want to go. Okay, if you need to illuminate something and you don't want to really give away too much light, simple thing is you just compress the light into your hand, okay, and what does that do? Now that compresses the beam, okay? So you've got a very small beam as opposed to a very large beam, okay? So if you want to be sneaky and illuminate something without really giving your position away, just kind of compress your hand around the light, okay? Works really great on a cold day too. So anyway, okay. The other thing that we saw yesterday that when moving from changing light conditions, it becomes a little bit of a problem. You can use the light to equalize light conditions. All right, now the possibilities are, okay, light to light, light to dark, dark to light, dark to dark, okay? Light to light, do you need any additional illumination? No.
No.
Okay, Dark to light, do you need any additional illumination? No. Dark to dark. I can't see, I'm afraid. No, come on. All right. You know what you guys should do, and when we do our low light program, what we're going to do is we're going to have guys move through the training area, move through structures in darkness. Okay, just using whatever ambient light there is, whatever other senses they have available to them that they can hear and smell and so on. Again, to not overly rely on the use of the light. I think that's what happens. A lot of guys do that. They overly rely on the use of the light. They figure, okay, I have a light. The minute that it's not perfectly high noon, bam, here comes that portable sun. Okay? I think that's a mistake. Anytime you turn this on, guys, what else are you doing?
Target indicator.
Giving the bad guy command and signal about where you are. So you need to be careful with that. Okay? But now, again, dark to dark, you don't need any light at all. Now here, this is the bad one here. Okay, this is the bad one, moving from light to dark. Okay? Now, what are your options moving from light to dark? Number one, artificially equalize the light level. So turn your lights off. If you can make it dark to dark, like they say in Hawaii, mo better. Okay? Definitely something you want to do, because then, remember, if it's dark, the bad guy can't see you. Okay? If you can illuminate his position artificially, turn it on. It wouldn't be a bad thing to do. Homeowners to have some sort of an automatic device that you can turn things on, and everybody's allergic here in Arizona, right?
Clap on.
Anyway, just a little remote control device, okay? Or you have artificial, what do they call those, disaster lights or whatever, those little night light things plugged in strategic places around the house. If you walk out of your master bedroom and they're all gone, it's like, that's a clue, McFly, right? Those things will help you to see what you need to see.
They also have these lights for emergency. When you have them plugged in the wall, they're off, but if somebody turns the power off, if, let's say, they have like super LED coming out, and if you know that's on, it powers off when there's a bad guy floating around.
After living in the People's Republic of California for how long, I mean, we got those all over the house, so.
Too long.
Anyway, now, if you can't do anything else, you can't change the lighting conditions, you can't illuminate your area, darken your area, illuminate his area, and it's dark in there and light out here, it's considerably more dangerous to you, because when the bad guy can't see you and you can't see the bad guy, it's cool. The odds are even. When you can both see each other, the odds are even. When he can see you and you can't see him, kind of like a Sun Tzu thing, there's danger in 10,000 battles, right? So you need to do something about that. And like we saw yesterday, a good tactic, it's still a very dangerous thing. It's like trying to do a T intersection. It's a very dangerous thing, but a good tactic to do is, as you're penetrating into that dark environment, you flash just as you're passing the threshold, so that at the point of danger, you are, as much as you can, equalizing the light levels. Okay? In this case, the brighter your light is, the better it is for you. Okay? In any case, these are things that need to be practiced hands-on for guys to really understand. Yes?
And if you find yourself in your own home, don't underestimate what light sources you actually have. People are so tentative to go to a flashlight right away. I mean, the clocks on your stove, on the microwave, they're giving out light sources all over the place.
Yeah, you can use a lot of just the ambient environment to help you see. Back in the day when I was doing searches and things like that, I would avoid the flashlight as much as possible. I would use it only when I absolutely need it, and I would rely on either ambient light or just being able to, to move through the environment as stealthily as possible. Again, the minute you turn this on and you start doing this, I mean, everybody knows who you are and what you're doing, and not necessarily the best course of action. Okay, now. It's 2010, 2011, all right, there's absolutely no reason for us not to use technology, all right? I laugh at instructors that, they're carrying, stuff that was available in the 1970s and stuff like that. Will that stuff still work? Yeah, you know, can you still get from Maine to California on a horse? Yeah, but why would you want to? Okay? So, you know, there are night vision units available now. You know, the bottom line about these is how much do you want to spend? Okay? You know, they're not $59.95. Now, the better ones are more expensive. You know what? If you want to do some research on the whole night vision thing, I think we have some write-ups up on the forum about that. But you're looking basically at generations, generation 1 through 4. Most of what is going to be within reach for people is going to be well, within reach and useful is going to be generations 2 and 3. Okay. Generation 1 units are usually huge, ungainly, and their lifespan is very poor. You know, you're talking about like Vietnam era starlight scopes and things like that. Okay. You know, Gen 2s are most of the stuff you're going to find is probably Eastern European surplus. But you know, you can find a monocular like this, Generation 2, a couple $100, maybe $300. Okay.
Gen 2 weapons mountable with an IR illuminator, $400.
Yeah.
And it's surprising how good it is.
Yeah. Now, Generation 3, the difference between Generation 2 and Generation 3. Generation 2, if there's somebody standing over there, you'll see a human figure. Okay, Generation 3, you'll be able to identify facial features. Okay, that's the main difference. But you can stand in complete darkness and bring this up to your eye, okay, and look into a completely dark environment and see exactly what's going on around you without anybody else knowing that you're there.
You do have to get used to the distance of the thing, because, you know, when you have to focus it.
Your depth perception is skewed. It is.
Well, your depth perception, if you're using binoculars, is adversely affected.
Yes.
Okay. Every time I've used those, I've ended up with a headache at the end of the day.
You can't use those for more than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
This, the binoculars, which when we start developing our low light program, our advanced low light program with the red dots, we're going to focus primarily on binoculars. Okay. So that you can basically you've got one eye free, that you're using the dark adaptation, everything else, you've got the other eye aided, and you can combine this with the characteristics of your aiming device on your pistol, whether tritium sights or red dot or laser or whatever, really move in darkness as stealthy as you can without illuminating anything and taking out any target that you want to take out without letting anybody know that you're there. With this device, and we get down into the dungeon, we'll try it. I used to carry this on patrol many years ago. You basically loop it over your neck like this, and you keep it with you, it's got switch right there, and again we've got the yellow barrel in here. And basically I would conduct my search like this, okay? So I'm moving through the environment, I'm searching, it's complete darkness. Okay, this is in complete darkness, nobody, you're not giving anything away. All right, there's something that I need to address. The pistol comes up, okay, now my right eye would be picking up the red dot on the RMR, and because of the binocular, workings of the eye, I would be seeing my target in green, and I would be seeing a red dot floating in the center of that target, okay? And it's something you kind of need to practice a little, because the eyes aren't used to working with these things. But once you get it, it's a pretty cool thing, and out to about 7 yards, you can get center mass hits without a whole lot of problem.
Yeah, if you don't consciously look for the dot, it's always there.
Yeah.
If you really try to find it, you're going to go, where the hell is it?
There's a big thing that you'll find is you've got one eye that's focused about a half inch from your head, and the other eye is focused at infinity.
That's right. Yeah. Now the other thing that you can do, and again, because this is totally proactive, this is not getting out the X, you're attacking and overrunning the X is what you're doing. Okay, the other thing you can do is if you have a laser device, okay, now I can bring this up, all right, and I can use the laser unit in this environment to shoot what I need to shoot. Now what the problem is, the minute I turn this laser on, there's a red dot out there, and someone is gonna know that you're in the environment. But you can use it to your benefit. If you need two hands to work the pistol, you let it drop on the lanyard and you're good to go. You know, if you need, let's say you identify a position you're concerned about, you're going, okay, you know, there's that spot over there I can't really see, I think that's where the bad guy is. There's nothing wrong with bringing this down, okay, accessing your other flashlight, okay, you know. Now, if you're going to be working with night vision, you can get IR flashlights, okay. I used to screw this on, this is how old this stuff is. I used to screw this onto my weapon light, you know. You know, everything worked exactly the same, and you turn on that IR light, you set it over there. Basically, unless he's also equipped with night vision device, he doesn't know you're even on the same planet with him. You set this down, you start moving, oh, there he is.